welcome to Michelle Reads Books. So today we are talking about kind of the end of my Harry Potter saga, and that is from the Wizarding Archive. I'm kind of going in reverse order at the moment, so this was the last book that I read. I will cover all of the books that I've read. This is the 15th book, and I feel like that's plenty. In fact, yeah, if anything, I would say this one's not recommended, not necessarily like necessary reading for Harry Potter fans, but this one, it's a little bit hard to explain because this one it isn't really a story, so I can't even giving you a summary. It's not really telling you a story, but I will explain my experience reading it. So I'll give you a summary as best as I can. This one's going to be shorter than most, and then my opinion. This book is about the things from Harry Potter that didn't make it into the books. It is based on feedback from J.K. Rowling to the Pottermore fandom website. We will go through each chapter. Yeah. The Dursleys is some great background information about the Dursley family. Sure. The Potters and the Malfoys is more great backgrounds about the Potter family and the Malfoy family. It's very interesting. Wands is some pretty boring reference information about cores and wood types, like connected to your personality. How the wizarding world works is quite vague and never seems to get to the point. The Triwizard Schools is some interesting background about Beauxbaton and Durmstrang. Alternate histories also never seems to get to the point. Dark Creatures is mostly information that is contained in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Animal Magic is kind of interesting, but is mostly stuff we already knew about. Wizarding Pastimes adds some new information above and beyond Quidditch, like gobstones. Fame in the wizarding world is mostly about Gilderoy Lockhart. Wizarding Transport is mostly about wizards' obsession with cars. The Journey to Hogwarts is about the history of the Hogwarts Express. Sorting is pretty fascinating. A few tidbits about some of the Hogwarts professors. The Hogwarts curriculum is by far the longest chapter. It is quite rambling and goes from backgrounds about various members of the Hogwarts faculty to tidbits only tangentially related. I believe this one chapter took an hour and a half to read. Magical Artifacts is kind of interesting about some of the random magical things that exist in the Harry Potter world, and Hogwarts Alumni is kind of interesting. Exploring Hogwarts alternate histories is actually only about one alternate history involving Florian Fortescue. Anyway, so the thing is, most of this information is not really relevant. I feel like the vast majority isn't really that important to know, even as a big Harry Potter fan. I would say, like the wands, like what does it say about your personality if you have dragon heart string versus unicorn hair, or if you have like willow wood versus holly, or so, like, is that really super interesting? I don't know. I guess some people would find it interesting. I feel like something like this is really only meant for the biggest and most hardcore of hardcore Harry Potter fans. If that is not you, don't bother. It's a little bit on the boring side, in my opinion. There was some really interesting stuff about some of the people, I would say. There's some about Petunia Dursley, and about Professor McGonagall. I think that was really interesting background information. But a lot of the other information either we've already inferred or is not that interesting. Yeah, you're like, huh. Although some of the information, like, like how the Potters made their money and stuff like that, that was kind of interesting. Also, that the Malfoys very much are not pure blood, was also really interesting to find out. And that's because they've always aligned themselves with like the most powerful people, including Muggles. Yeah, so yeah, they have Muggle blood in them for sure. But Yeah, so some of it was interesting, but probably three-quarters of it was something that I could have lived without knowing. But yeah, I do find it interesting that it was thought through, but really this book is only for the most hardcore of hardcore Harry Potter fans. Anyways, so that's my opinion. What did you think of it? And happy reading.